What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video, and I did receive back from Collector Archive Services a couple of modern Star Wars prototypes. And I thought that we would take a closer look at them, and I would give you kind of just some other resources for where to find them, other examples, other stages, what the grading companies are doing with prototypes. And I hope that you find this video interesting. But one of these I've already had in my collection and you've seen before. This is my Power of the Force 2 Bossk, but this is the new one. This is another Power of the Force 2 first shot prototype that I bought last year, I think. No, it must have been, yeah, it was probably January, February of this year, but you know, these take a long time to actually be authenticated and graded. And I just got it back last week, and I just haven't had time to put this video together, and I thought you'd like to look at it. This is Lak Zivrak. He was one of the Cantina creatures during the Cantina encounter in the original Star Wars film. And you can see that it's clearly got non-production colors. It's got, let's see if we can get to focus, guys. I'm sorry. But here he is. It's a really cool figure. It came with two first shot accessories, which are the two weapons that Lak Zivrak was packed with. Lak Zivrak is a 1997 Power of the Force 2 figure, and he, I'm sure, appeared on multiple cards, but the one that I remember the most for him was the freeze frame action slide. And it's a really great prototype. Let me show you the grade on it. Power of the Force 2 Lak Zivrak first shot prototype, and it came back with a 90, so a really, really nice high grade. I bought this from a seller in China, or not in China, excuse me, in Japan, and it arrived after about 2 months, but it did get here finally, and it is just an awesome prototype. And you guys have already seen this one. This is my Power of the Force 2 Bossk. I've had this one for quite a while. It's not complete, but it does have one first shot weapon, which is the long blaster rifle. The original was packed with, and this is, excuse me, this is graded 85 plus. This one was also, this figure, in terms of retail, was also packed with a blaster pistol. And I've got two factory retail examples here for you. I've got the Alan Harris signed example that's graded 85, and you can see it's got two weapons. It's got that blaster rifle. It's in a different color than my first shot prototype. The prototype example has the first shot rifle that's in kind of yellow, whereas the finished retail product is kind of a gunmetal gray. But that the figure was packed with a blaster pistol as well, and I do not have that one as part of this prototype. But this is the one signed by Alan Harris. That's graded 85. And then this was a gift from Mr. Domo Toys, a fellow YouTuber. This is the Tri-Logo Bossk, and this one was graded 85 plus. But that at least gives you kind of an example of how much different this prototype is versus the retail figure, and a number of different factors can affect the value of first shot prototypes, these modern ones, and I'll go over that a little bit later on. Another factor that can affect the value of prototypes is whether they have the date stamps on them or if they don't have them. If they don't have the date stamps, it means that they're fairly early in the process of the production of the figure. And so, for example, the first shot Power of the Force 2 Bossk that I have, it does have the date stamps on there. You can see those very clearly. And I didn't pay nearly as much for this one as I did for the Lak Zivrak. And so here's the Lak Zivrak bottom of the feet. You can see that there's clearly no date stamps on the bottom of the feet. And, you know, the price reflected that since it's an earlier stage prototype. It has pre-production colors. And I paid about, I'd say about $75 more than I did for the Bossk figure. And, you know, the Bossk was incomplete. It's missing its smaller blaster rifle, whereas the Lak Zivrak had both weapons and is a complete prototype. And so here is the other prototype that just came back from Collector Archive Services. It's the one on the right. It's a Kit Fisto. It's a really cool figure and lots of non-production colors. And I'll show you the label on that one. This is a 2003 Clone Wars example of Kit Fisto, Army of the Republic. Really, really cool. and it graded a 90, but I'll give you a close-up of this one. This one is incomplete. It does not have first shot accessories, but what an awesome figure. Really cool to see that. Look at that hair. That hair looks like my wife's hair when she wakes up in the morning. Just all over the place. My wife, I hope my wife doesn't see this. She won't be very happy with me, but really nice example. And so he came with a lightsaber, but this one was incomplete. I have seen these for sale with a first shot accessory, but this one did not have it. And I'll do another close up here. There you go. Look at that face, man! What an awesome prototype. But it's got so many different colors going on. You got dark gray for the head. It's an even, I think, darker color. It's almost a black for the limbs, the arms. You got light gray for the pants, or actually it might even be a brown. That's a brown. So, and then you got the same color for the feet as the arms. You got blue for the skirt and part of the torso, and then white for the rest of the torso. So it's really cool to have one with so many different colors, and it turned out really great. And then here is the other one that I've already had in my collection. You might have remembered it, but this is another Kit Fisto. He looks like he's breakdancing or grooving out on a Saturday night after too many margaritas at Applebee's. But another cool one. It's got multiple colors as well. We got a black head, brown body, and I guess like a darker brown pants. This Kit Fisto was available on 2 different cards. This one came on, let's see here. It's a first shot prototype. This was a Saga series, but I believe it also came on another card, on the Attack of the Clones card. So pretty cool to see that one as well. And again, graded 90. So it's kind of, it's an accidental mini Kit Fisto prototype focus, if that's even such a thing, but they look pretty cool together. The price on prototypes can also vary depending on whether it's a partial prototype or whether the figure is a complete prototype. For example, take a look at these 2 first shot prototype Grand Moff Tarkins that are Power of the Force 2 figures. The one on the left is 100% first shot prototype parts. That one sold for $400, as you can see. And then on the right hand side, that one's only a partial prototype. The arms and the torso are first shots, and then the legs and the head are production that were added later for display purposes. And that one only sold for $110. So a complete prototype sold for 4 times what a partial prototype did. And here are 2 vintage examples of partial prototypes. The right-hand figure is a Lobot with full production pieces except for the head, which is a clear first shot head pull. And then on the right-hand side, everything is production except for the torso piece. That is a first shot torso pull. And even though these are partial prototypes, AFA will grade them. They just add the Q, as you can see, on the label. So these are qualified 85 grades. In the past, Action Figure Authority would not grade prototypes unless they were complete, but that has since changed. And given that factory prototypes are often handled internally by employees and have writing on them to keep track of where they are in the process, AFA will grade those as well. And so here are 2 examples of what I'm talking about. This C-3PO is from Attack of the Clones. It's the one that had the removable panels. He's incomplete, and he's probably a later stage prototype, but he's unpainted. And I only paid about $40 for that, so it probably would have been a lot more expensive had he been complete with the first shot removable panels. And this Zutton would never have been graded by AFA, 5 years ago, because he was incomplete without his accessories. But this one has the internal markings that the factory workers or the engineers use to track these samples. And so this is a Power of the Jedi Zutton figure, first shot action figure Zutton, brown, black, and yellow. And he came back with an 80 near mint, even though it has the factory writing on the figure. And for those of you on a budget, sometimes eBay sellers just mislabel figures. And this is an example of where a seller mislabeled whether this was a prototype or not. The seller on eBay said that this was just an unpainted figure. So I did a little bit of research because I was interested in it, because it's a beautiful figure. This is, I'll just show you this real quick. It's a 2002 Saga series, Attack of the Clones, Luminata Anduli. Doesn't that sound Italian? And this is a first shot prototype with the blue saber. And so that's the key right there, is that I did some research and looked at finished retail packaging of this figure. And she actually the final retail product comes with a totally different colored saber. And so that's how I knew that this was a first shot prototype and just not an unpainted, factory error, so to speak. And I think I only paid about 40 or 50 bucks for it originally. And, the seller just happened to mislabel it. Look, I know I bag on eBay a lot, but I've bought prototypes from eBay, and I've seen some absolutely amazing examples out there if you got the deep pockets. And if you don't have the deep pockets, there's some budget ones too. I've shown examples of both here. A 6-inch Black Series Ahsoka just sold, and it was like almost 800 bucks. And a 1997 Power of the Force 2 Leia just sold for almost 600. But there's also good deals on modern prototypes, both 3 3/4 inch and Black Series figures. So it just depends on what you're looking for. A lot of these do originate in China because that's where they're made. So a lot of the factories do end up selling these first shots from China. So take that with a grain of salt, is that the shipping is going to be more expensive and you never know if it's actually going to get there or not. I've had mixed success with buying prototypes from China. And while you can find some great deals on prototypes on eBay, as well as some rare ones like those expensive sales I just showed you, there are still the sleazeballs on eBay, so be very careful. You can see here this one's listed as a quote-unquote unproduced prototype, but it's really just a custom, as I circled. And unfortunately, I see this quite a bit. You also need to be careful about 3D printed Star Wars figures that are labeled as prototypes. With the advent of 3D printers, it's made it pretty easy for sleazeballs to fake prototypes in all kinds of different colors and then list them on eBay as quote-unquote super rare. The main thing to remember is eBay is not the end-all be-all for finding Star Wars prototypes. A lot of times, the best deals can be found on Facebook. Here are two of the better groups that I've found on Facebook for finding prototypes. Deal or No Deal, which of course I've talked about at length, has really blown up in size, and you see lots of great prototypes on there. Sometimes for awesome deals too. And Prototype Exchange is another good resource where it's for not only Star Wars, but G.I. Joe and pretty much any other major toy line. Or maybe you're not ready to actually buy a prototype yet and you just want to learn more about them. Prototype Archives on Facebook is a great reference site, and they also have a web presence at prototypearchives.com. I'll include a link to their website in the description for this video. Anyway, that's all I really had for this video. I hope that you enjoyed looking at all of these different prototypes that vary in terms of completeness, in terms of whether they have date stamps or not, and whether they have engineering markings like the Zutton that you saw here. And I just try to provide folks with good resources for finding modern Star Wars prototypes in case they wanted to start a collection like this. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to being back soon.